Hello, in this video you are going to learn how to get items from other lists and displaying them in our Spark forms. We are going to use the list grid view control to consume data from any list within the local site collection, or on other site collections in the web application. The user can search and select items from other lists in the SharePoint farm, or retrieve the data dynamically by the dynamic camel query, without the need to write any code or script to do that. Previously we have created this user profile SharePoint list. To learn how to create a list in SharePoint in detail, you can watch this tutorial video, and it is listed in the description below as well. We are going to this user profile list as an example in our video. From the list, at the top here, click on Spark Forms Builder to open the canvas to design the form. As you see here, I've previously designed this form to focus on getting the data from other lists in this video. If you are interested in how to customize the design for the form in detail, you can watch this tutorial video, and it is listed in the description below as well. Now we are going to add the list grid view control to display all the employees whose the selected user is responsible for. These data exist in another list, which is employee data list, so we are going to connect this list grid with the employee data list. From Control Properties, modify the list grid view properties, like Group by, Title, Mapping with Field and SharePoint List. Now we are going to connect the list grid view with employee data that have the data. Set the list grid view settings. In the site list, select employee data and select the SharePoint fields that you want to show in the grid view. The list grid view provides us two ways to view the data from the other list. The first type is the searchable type view, which means to search for certain data within all the data in the list, and selected what we want to be listed in the list grid. Or queryable, which means that retrieve all the data in the list dynamically to display them in the list grid, or some data based on a specific condition. We will discuss all the case in details. First we will select the searchable type view, so select View Type Searchable. We have here a checkbox to display all the data in the search dialog. If the search box is empty or not, we are going to select it and see how it is work. Then click on OK. Now we are going to set hidden as the default for this control. Because in our case, the list grid view shows only if the user switches on responsible for. We have to add a rule to show and hide the control. From the top ribbon, click on the Control Rules. Create a new rule. Modify the rule name. Select Rule Type Formatting. And apply the rule on change. Then add the condition. Then click Save. Great. We have finished designing the form. Let's now publish the form and see how it works. Let's back to our list. Click on New. Now we are going to select Jim to retrieve all his related data. If you want to learn how to retrieve the data from the user profile in detail, you can watch this tutorial video, and it is listed in the description below as well. Okay, now let's switch on the list grid view and add the employees, which Jim is responsible for them, to the list, by selecting them from the employee data list. As we chose the searchable view, we have to open the search dialog. Click on Search. OK, in the search dialog we see here all the data that exist in the employee data table. In our case the data is small, I can select the employee directly, but in case we have large data, we can search by name or email or any metadata we have here. If we uncheck the checkbox that displays all the data, the search dialog will be like this. We are going to select Sully and Mike to add them to the list grid view. Let's take the other case. If we want to display all the data from the other list in the list grid view automatically once I open the form, we are going to go back to the list grid view property and edit the view type to queryable. Then click on OK. Let's now publish the form and see how it works. Back to our list. Click on New. Select Jim. And switch on the list grid view. As we see here, all the data is displayed automatically in the list grid. But what if I want only the employees that Jim is responsible for them? We can use the queryable view type, and add a dynamic camel query to filter the data based on the manager name. Let's see how. Back to the list grid view settings. Now we are going to add a dynamic camel query, by clicking on Generate Camel Query. From here we are going to add a filter, to retrieve the data based on the manager name. From Employee Data List, select the manager ID. To compare with, the username control. From the top ribbon, click on Insert. After we have generated a dynamic camel query, we are going to execute it. We have two options to execute the query at runtime: execute on load. If selected this option, the data will be retrieved on the form load. The other option on change, if selected, the data will be retrieved based on triggering the onChanged event on the selected controls. In our case, we are going to select on change. And from the action controls we are going to select username. Then click on OK. Let's now publish the form and see how it works. Back to our list. Select Jim. And switch on the list grid view. As we see here, employees' data is displayed that Jim is responsible for them. This grid list view control provides an excellent sorting property. The user can group the grid view rows or data based on the field type, by simply dragging the group by column and dropping it in the group area on the fly. We can control this property by activating it or not from the control property panel. We saw how easy to add and configure list grid view control for SharePoint forms, using Spark Forms to consume data from any list. And how to display the data either by searching dialog or dynamically, so the user can search and select items, or retrieve the data dynamically by the dynamic camel query, without the need to write any code or script. Follow us to learn more about advances used for SharePoint and Spark Forms. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and if you have a comment please write it down. Thank you.